First of all, if you're watching this at a later time, welcome. So I am just going to continue working this pattern that I've been working on for the last few days. And you might have seen this one before. I'm in love with the colors. It's so pretty. And I'm getting closer to finish off this cake. But don't worry, I have 3 more cakes. So, hello, and welcome. Right now I have a fairly easy going round, which is nice. The last round was a little bit, I wouldn't say tricky, but there's some tricky elements occasionally on most of the patterns I do. So who do I have joining me today? Feel free to say hi in the chat, where you're from, or what you are doing to entertain yourself tonight. Or is it maybe morning where you are at? Here it is. Let me see what it's almost, 10:30 in the evening. But then again, I am a night owl, so I am often here at this time. And it's not really that late just yet. So let's just talk a little bit about the yarn that I'm using. As you can see, it started here in pink, and it's fading to purples and blues and greens. And it will turn into yellow. You can see that I have a little bit left here on the blue before it goes into the yellow. Isn't that just really pretty? Here you can see the back of the blanket. You get all the colors. And I will do, here's the full cake in its full glory. We have Dahlia, which is a 100% cotton from Hobby, and it is, they say it's a 2 fine, 2 1. We have 200 grams, 800 meters, 7 ounces, 874 yards. They recommend a 3.5 to 4 millimeter crochet hook, and my trusted crochet hook ended up somewhere here. I had lost it. Where did it go? Oh, here it is. I am using a 3.25, but I am a loose crocheter, or a loose hooker, if that's what you want to have fun about. And I'm using my Tulip Edimos. I only have this one red. I ordered this one out of set, and I do have a set with black and with gold heads, but I have only this in this size in any crochet hook at all. This is the only 3.25 I have. So, and what else do we have to say about this yarn? We have its color number 3, and it's called Deep Impact on the website. And as you can see, I started with the pink and I worked my way out to almost the center of the cake, which is yellow. And on the next cake, I will start in the center and work my way out. And then I have 2 more cakes after that that will be pink to yellow. So I'm going back into the center again, and then I'm going center out again. So it starts here in the middle of the blanket with pink, and it will end on the outside of the blanket also with the pink, which I think is going to be really pretty. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to see this grow. The colors are just really like slowly fading, and it's just really, really pretty. So yeah, that's what I have here. So let's see where the hook disappeared to. It ended in on the couch, which is, I have red pants as well as a red blanket on my couch, and finding a red crochet hook can be a bit tricky. Probably not the smartest combination, but I just have to make it work, I guess. So I'm gonna continue the crocheting, and soon we will see. Yeah, it's really close to the next. You can barely see any blue left on here before we're into the greens and yellows. It would be really fun to know where everyone's from, so feel free to leave a comment of where you're at right now. Or anything at all for that matter. If you rather talk about what kind of weather you're having right now, that's also totally fine. Or what you're working on. Are you a crocheter, or are you maybe a knitter, or are you doing something else? I love working with this Dahlia yarn. I love working with cotton in most forms, and I do have a sensitivity to wool, so wool is, I wouldn't say totally out of the picture, because I occasionally suffer for the art, and take some allergy meds and just pull through it. And it's usually not any big projects when I work with wool, so it's usually quite fast, maybe a day or two, and not very often, so I spread it out so I don't have to suffer too much. But I do use quite a lot of acrylics and other synthetic fibers as well. But when it comes to baby blankets, which, yeah, it's just gorgeous to make baby blankets in cottons, that's my go-to. This is not going to be a baby blanket. It's going to be a toddler blanket for, well, my almost 3-year-old. It's her birthday in about a month and she will be 3, so it will be bigger. Normally, a baby blanket size is 2 of these cakes, and now I'm using 4 just to get a decent size that she can have for a long time. It just feels, I wouldn't say stupid, but it just feels like a waste to make it too small because she's growing like weeds in the garden. Hello. How are you today? Is it winter where you're at? We have snow. Of course, I would expect snow this time of year in Sweden, but we haven't had snow every year. Um, at least not Christmas and such. As the snow is usually in the later part of the winter. The winter starts later and they continue into spring and halfway into summer. Not like when I was a kid when snow came in October and it stayed till Easter. Well, you're pretty far up then. I'm guessing it's about the same as me, since I'm not the best at geography, and Canada's big, so you can be in very many places with many different climates. We did have, like, I wouldn't say it's a weather phenomenon, but something I haven't seen in quite some time the other day. We had snow. I'm guessing it was like the frost overnight that had done it, but it was, when it gets so cold that the trees are getting frosted, so it's like all the trees turn white, but it's not like really snow. It's just the frost that kind of, I don't know, gets stuck to everything. But it was like really, really pointy pieces, and they were really like, I'd say 2 centimeters, like long spikes out of snowy frost on every piece of branch, everything. So everything just looked really almost like barbed wire, but plenty of those sharp, frosty nails. Yeah, it was really cool. I probably should have taken pictures, but I didn't want to go outside because it was cold. I'd rather sit inside and crochet. Is that wrong of me? Where I'm nice and toasty on the couch. Yeah, that too. Like when it's not snow this time of year, it's so gray. We have had plenty of rain and gray and mud, and I'm so over it. I either want a lot of snow or green spring with no mud. And then it's just really terrible when all the mud gets frozen over and everything is just really slippery all over the place. There we go. So are you crocheting something today? Aw, frogs are cute. We have a little joking thing with frogs going here with my almost 3-year-old. She's been tricked that there's a frog living somewhere at Grandma and Grandpa's place, and she needs a flashlight when we're there at all times so she can run around and, you know, try and find the frog in corners and little cracks in the floor anywhere, and she's going crazy with the flashlight trying to find the frog. There's of course no frog, but it keeps her entertained for hours, and she's kind of obsessed with flashlights right now. So I guess it's a win-win situation, because sometimes it's hard to entertain a 3-year-old with too much energy, especially when it's really cold and you don't want to be outdoors all the time. You can be outdoors for a bit, but like not all all day. And now we have the yellow. Yay. Yeah, this is really lovely. The colors are really fading almost seamlessly into each other. Of course, you can see here where the yellow popped in. But yeah, that's gonna disappear on the next row anyway, so you can't really tell where that join is. It's really soft. One of the reasons I really love cottons is that they become this really drapey, nice soft fabric. And of course there's some weight to it as well. These cakes are 800 meters, 200 grams. What's that? I think 7 ounces. So 7 ounces each, 4 cakes. It's quite some weight. Almost a kilo of gorgeous, pretty yarn. And it's really small, this other one now, with the yellow and green left. And it will, of course, also transition gradually. Almost seamlessly into the next color. Oh, you got this exact colorway? It's the Dahlia Deep Impact, this one. Color number 3. I have some, I think I can reach it. Very similar. This one. It's very similar, but it's not the same, and this is a sultan cake. I don't know what this one is. Color 29, where we have purple, blue, green, yellow, and then we have orange and red. So this is more of a true rainbow, but pastel-y rainbow. So I'm missing out on well, the orange and the red, more or less, and the colors are not in order of a rainbow, with the pink being out here instead of like in after the yellow. But they're gorgeous, like really, really pretty. I don't remember, did I show you the doll bed blanket that I did recently? Yeah, I love these cakes. These are my like go-to. I did buy, and I do have an unboxing video of that, when I bought 6 mystery cake bags. Yep, that's when they had the mystery cake bags, and I did get 6. All of them regular sultans, no deluxe kind, which is, I wouldn't say sad. I would have loved to have one, but I have bought some since. I have this Manarola yarn, which I'm pretty convinced that this is basically the same as Carnival. Same manufacturer is my guess, because all the stats on it is the same, but it's different colorways and just a different label, because this is the World of Yarn. And of course this is rainbows. Well, all the colors of the rainbow. We have the pink, orange, and gold and yellow, purple, blue, and 2 different greens. Gorgeous. So I made a doll blanket or a doll bed. Where did it go? Here. I did it not, yeah, I finished this a few days ago. So I did squares. First I did flowers and popcorns, and then I did squares. So each square is very different. I just continued with the yarn. So which one was, I started on this one, I think. Yeah. So this is the first square I did. Hello, welcome. So I did this when it would go from this green to the blue, and then the next one I started, well, it's almost bluish purple. Next one started purple and went into the yellows and pinks, and after that this one. So I put them diagonally after each other, and it's 3 squares wide and 4 squares tall, and all of them are so different that it's the same color, or yeah, the same. I used 2 skeins almost, and here is where I changed the skeins, because I did go from the pink to this orange, and then the closest ball I had to match up with was yellow. So I figured that's pretty good. It's not really like obvious where I did change between the yarns. And I did a join as you go type of thing that turned out really cool, where you can see the colors next to each other. Some places they really pop up, and some they're more like discreet. Here you can barely see it, because here we have a purple, and then we have like a purple yellow kind of thing going on. And then I just did moss stitch border, which is on this side very different from, is it, yeah, some of the corners are those. Here it's more or less like a fading color change. It's nice gradient type of thing going here, from a dark purple to blue to the greens. And then of course on the other edges it's more almost like checkered, but not really, I guess. It's really fun to see how the effects of a moss stitch and a color changing yarn turns out. But yeah, so all rainbows for my almost 3-year-old. So this is also going to be a birthday present for her, because she's getting a doll bed from her grandma, and grandma requested me to make a blanket for the doll bed. So of course I did that. And this is going to be the blanket for said 3-year-old, but for her. And it's going to be way bigger than, oh, sorry, than the doll bed blanket. So she has a thing for rainbows. And it's kind of funny. because she's been like all yelling about blue and different shades of purple that she's just like I want blue stuff. And then I asked her about colors. I showed her some, I think it was just the Sultan yarns, and I showed her all of them. And she was like, "Oh, I want blue." And then she was pointing at blues and different purples until she saw rainbow. And after that, all she's asking for is rainbow. So I figured, yeah, I probably have to pick more rainbowy colors for these two blankets for her to be happy. Of course, she'd be happy about anything, but it just felt like going for per well, going for rainbows is the way to go, at least this year. She's getting bigger, so that's most likely gonna change in a couple of years. But small girls and rainbows and unicorns and ponies and all of that, it just goes hand in hand, so I guess it's how it's supposed to be. I don't even know all the colors by heart, but I do know that I love them. I do, if I stretch, have a deluxe nearby. And I'm not sure what this, I think it's is it an opal or gem? They have a lot of those type of names. I think most of the Sultan cakes are different type of gemstones, or yeah, there's an emerald. Kunzite is I did have one of those cakes before, and I think that's also some type of stone rock. I just I just had to see for myself how vibrant these colors were, because I've been seeing pictures of people doing stuff with it, and it's just like really, really vibrant. Most of the colors on the website feels like they are a little bit more vibrant in real life. But of course, you can't have everything being true to color in pictures on a website. Oh, so you're being you're being all sneaky here. Well, then you can check out Kunzite. I did a little like doily type tableware thing in Kunzite for my in-laws a while back. Because that one's like lavenders, pinks. It just, yeah, it's their type of colors. They have a lot of pinks, pink curtains, and it just felt like, yeah, it's supposed to be in their house. I have a bunch of colors that I don't know what to do with, and I do have colors I wish I had. So maybe another day I will order, but as I said, I did get the 6 mystery cake bags earlier this, no, it was last year. New year now. And yeah, I got that last year. I have used quite a lot of them, but I still have a long way to go. And I did kind of splurge a bit in the Halloween section because I just love the Halloween colors. So I have a lot of those as well, which is really nice. Those colors are, I'm sad that some of the colors are not there all year round. Well, I did get a couple of multiples and some not multiples. I did get like um in each of the 6 bags I got the a discontinued yarn color And I believe that because they had to relabel or rebrand the Sultan line before they were named Sultan, they were called Twirl, I think. Because they have the twister yarn, and I think it was Twirl. But Sheepies has similar yarns called Whirl, and I think it was too close of a name. So there was some issues going on there. So they had to rename it and came up with the Sultan line. So they had all these yarns with the old name, and I think that they just ripped all the labels off and put them in mystery bags. And I do remember that they had something called, I think it was Twirls, I'm pretty sure, but Nation. And the Nation cakes came in like flag related type of colors. And I know there's a one that was red, white, and red, and it was called Denmark. And I did get 2 of those, or was it 3? And then, as I said, I did get the same in each of them. And that was the one called Sweden. And it was blue, yellow, blue. And I have used 2 of the blue, yellow, blue and made a baby blanket for a friend of mine that's very patriotic, and she's like into the old type like North mythology and the Viking gods and stuff. So I figured she's getting a boy, and he got a Viking name. He's called Ragnar or Ragnar. So of course he needed a blue and yellow blanket. So I do still have 4 cakes of that color that I don't know what to do with, which yeah, they're probably going to be laying around for quite some time, since there's other colors that I'd much rather work with, since I do have a bunch of the Halloween cakes, and I do, yeah, just a lot of it. So now I actually finished this round. I need to double check my pattern because I don't know this by heart. I have done, it is a repeat, and here we have the centers like special thing going on, but after that we have this shell part, and then there's basically a ridge here, and then there's a ridge here, and between the ridges it just repeats itself. So after a couple of more repeats I might be like knowing this pattern by heart, but I think I'm doing cluster stitches. So I'm just gonna double check my pattern here. And the cluster stitches are really fast to work up, but they eat yarn. Like a lot of yarn. So let's see here. I am doing clusters. Yes. No. Sometimes I wouldn't say it's tricky, but you do get used to certain designers, how they write their patterns. And it's quite easy to start to like remember how things are supposed to be in certain areas. If the pattern looks like this, do like that. And usually this designer uses 2 double crochets, 2 chains, and 2 double crochets in corners, but here we have 2 cluster stitches. So I was about to do as I always do in the other patterns, but now we're only doing 3 double crochets together and chaining 1 to make the clusters. It just looks so natural how it turns into this, like how the yellow is here now. The gradients of these cakes are just to die for sometimes. Oh, and back to the mystery cake bags. I did get mostly shadow cakes. 3 of the same pastello. And the Swedish flag type. 2 Denmark. What else did I get? Did I get the kunzite in that bag or did I get it somewhere else? I don't remember. Oh, I did buy. I have done bought mystery cakes or mystery bags before and after. I have acrylic ones as well. I don't remember what I've bought or when I've bought it. The hobby of collecting yarn, you don't remember everything, but yeah, I do have an emerald of the sultans, and I do have, it's a really deep, I wouldn't say it's pink, but is it called rubellite or something, with a lot of dark pink tones. I think it's something ruby or something like that. And I do have a pastello. Is it called gooseberry? The bright, bright green. That was a friend of mine ordered it. And when she got it, it was like someone accidentally ripped a little bit of it, like with a knife as they cut the box or something. So the outer part of it is a little bit, it's just a little bit like on the side. So maybe, a bit to get out. But she messaged them and was like, hey, this is broken. So they sent her a new one. So she gave me the other one because, yeah, too much for her to mess with it not being as it should be, I guess. I think that one's called gooseberry. Neon-y, almost as bright as this green looks to me here. And I did get, oh, what was that color? I did get 3 Pastello grape. I did a baby blanket out of 2 of them and a shawl with the last one. I do have 3 Pastello in, I would say it's like an orangey peach color. I don't remember what the color is, or yeah, what it's called, but I do have those that I don't know what to do with as well. Am I spoiling all my haul videos here? So you don't have to go and look at them? Of course, you do exactly what you want. If you want to go and check out my haul video playlist, then there's plenty of yarn there to watch when you got nothing else to do. I always have some video going in the background when I crochet. Of course, right now I'm focusing on myself and this live stream, so I don't want that background noise, but Otherwise, I have other YouTubers watching their videos. It's a bit tricky occasionally since I do a lot of intricate patterns to watch a lot of it, so I listen more. And I do love people that dye yarns when they're explaining like what colors they're using and why they're using them and what they're thinking about, like how they place the colors down and pattern they're hoping to achieve. And that's really like nice when you just want to listen, as well as yarn giveaway videos. There's a couple of YouTubers that's really good at like talking about the yarns. It's really nice to listen to. But of course, if there's stuff I want to see, then I crochet for a bit and then I just glance over to what they're doing. Am I crocheting too fast? I don't know if it's easy or hard to see what's going on a live stream, what the camera picks up and such. Sometimes it feels like I'm crocheting slow, and sometimes it feels like I'm crocheting fast. But also, I do have a slightly different seating position, since I do have a camera in between what I'm doing and my face at the moment. So normally I would have it closer to my face. So it does take a little bit extra like precision to see what I'm doing, and also yeah, that just makes it a little bit slower. It's really fun to see more and more people finding my videos and my live streams and such. Really appreciate that there's people that take time to interact and hang out. I don't have that many friends that I can talk yarn and crochet related things with, so that's why I started my YouTube channel, to have someone to share it with, geek out a bit. And my family don't really understand it. Like, it's a hobby. They have other types of hobbies and they just don't appreciate this. Sometimes the chat is being stupid. Now it disappeared way too fast again. I want to see what's going on in the chat. Oh, you the shawl. Actually, that was at the Halloween yarn. Oh, can I reach it? Let's see. I just have to. I'm disappearing for 2 seconds. Well, I'm not really disappearing. I'm just getting off the couch for 2 seconds. Because I do have another one of them going. In a shadow cake. A green shadow. So yeah, I have one in the making, and I don't have that much left of the yarn, so I'm guessing this is going to be yeah, I think because I left the other one on one of them like spiky rounds, because that's the one I have on the blocking board on the thumbnail in one of the videos. So I'm thinking, I don't know if I have enough yarn to continue after I've done the full spike parts, but I do have leftover black from another project I did with the shadow cakes, so I do have yarn for it, but I don't know if I like the look of the spiky parts or if I want it like a solid, you know, the to close it up and have straight edges. I don't know. So I do have that one. It would probably just be a few hours to finish it off, but I haven't really focused on that one. And I did mention the Asteria in Kunzite that I did before. I have another Asteria and also a shadow cake, but this is the more teal. I don't know if it's the darker of the tealy ones. And I have a lot more yarn on this one left. But we have this. I love this pattern. It takes a lot of reading the pattern and such, but when you figure it out, it's easy. And there's a lot of counting, so I do actually have my row counter attached to. I put it on a stitch marker where I'm at, so. But I did this exact pattern in the Kunzite before, and now I'm doing this one for myself. You can only see that my couch has a red blanket, but my couch is actually blue, similar to what it's looking like here. So I figured this is gonna look really nice here in my living room. So that's this is also like from my mystery bags. Both of these shadow cakes are, oh sorry, from, now my phone is being stupid. I'm sorry, I knocked you. I did not mean to do that. There we go. I'm gonna move this out of the way again. A lot of show and tell today. I should probably have stuff more easily available. Let's see, where did everything go? There's the crochet hook and there is the yarn. Yeah. I know the Asteria is quite of a controversial pattern since the designer of the Asteria is from Russia, and I know there was a big controversy about everything when Russia went all crazy over Ukraine. And the designer of the Asteria were very pro-Russian, and I guess not everyone was really happy about that, so she got quite canceled. But that doesn't say the pattern isn't beautiful, because the pattern is beautiful and well written and such. Yeah. It was a big thing with her. And I do understand that there's people out there that is afraid to speak up, but speaking up and being totally like, no, this is right, we're doing the right thing, and being very, very pro Russia is just not bad. It's not good for business. It's definitely not good for business because people don't agree with you in that sense. Not everyone, at least. So, well, I didn't buy the pattern because someone got very upset with the whole situation and was basically giving it away. So, yeah, copyright infringement and all of that stuff. But I didn't support the designer. Still have made it because, you know, it's fun to test new techniques, and I got better as a crocheter reading her patterns because they were very different from other patterns that I have read before and after. Because every designer has their own little things, you know, in pattern making. And it's nice to better yourself, you know. I had a period where I was like, I'm only gonna make patterns this week that I'm testing stuff I haven't tested before. I'm not very much into like amigurumis and toys and, you know, that type of stuff. But I did a perfect round ball, so I tried that, and just, you know, new different types of stitches. I did a pineapple pot holder, which is basically like what was the stitch called? You know, the three-dimensional, I think they're called it, I've seen it called dragon scales or alligator scales. I think you might know what I'm referring to. I just don't remember what it's actually called. Is it dragon scales? But they're three-dimensional, and it's basically a pineapple with that stitch. And I hadn't done that before, so it was fun. But you don't get better unless you challenge yourself, so. Yeah, and it turned out really cute. There's of course a video of me showing the pineapple somewhere if you want to check it out. And I did a strawberry coaster. Also very different. I've done mosaic in the... There's two different ways to make mosaic. There's the interlocking type, or was it something like that? And then there's the other one. Oh my god, I don't remember. Guess what? Excuse me for 2 seconds as I just scoot over to the other side of the couch and I'll show you something. One of the first items that I did when I learned to crochet And it might be like hard to imagine that this was one of my first things. Well, I wouldn't say learn to crochet. When I got back into crocheting, I did learn as a kid. But I got back into crocheting about 3 years ago while I was pregnant. And I was gifted a huge amount of scrap yarns. Okay? And the scraps were everything and anything. And let's see, where did we start? This is the beginning of the blanket. So this is a baby size blanket. And the pattern is called Queen by Tina from Iceland, the Icelandic mosaic goddess. The patterns are really well written. But these are scraps, it's acrylics, it's wool, it's everything. So, and the border is actually cookie in limelight, which I love this color. But everything and anything, there's anything from DK, worsted, there's strands that I've doubled up, and it's just a big mess, really, of colors. Here's more of the limelight cookie. We have, I think this might be wool. I have no idea if I dare to even wash this. Hand wash cold, I guess, or just soak it, because I'm guessing it's way different shrinkage things going on. Here we have acrylics, I know that much, but it's just full of colors, and I love it. Here we have something that's what's it called? Why is this stuff just escaping me sometimes? I don't remember. But it's just one thick strand of yarn, just like this one. You don't see anything really. Well, of course the colors are twisted together. Roving style, yes, roving style. So there's roving style yarns. There's yeah, everything and anything. And the blanket border is an envelope border, so all the yarn ends are hidden. You don't, well, of course you can tie them a little bit and shorten them down, but there is a lot of extra fluff in this border. So we have the limelight on this side, and here we have the other colors. So you basically make two borders and stitch them together. So when I do like this, it actually, yeah, it's nothing in there other than the yarn ends, which is really nice, because doing mosaic and having to hide all the yarn ends is a pain in the, it was enough to, because most of these rows I did continue with the yarn until I didn't have enough for every row, so I switched yarns midway in some places, and that's definitely enough of yarn ends to sew in when it wasn't enough for a full row. Yeah, I have that pattern, and I've been really like, should I make it in the same colors, because the colorway are really good, and I've been thinking that the twister yarns is a bit expensive, and I'm not sure the blanket's gonna be big enough, and there's been so many thoughts about that blanket. I do have the pattern, but I don't know what type of yarn I should make it in, because there's just so many options, and I have so much yarn, and I can't be like, oh, I want to buy more yarn because I want it to be exactly like the pattern. That's not fun. Oh, and this the back of this, here you can faintly see the diagonal diamond type patterns. But you do get these parts that's kind of loose. And the other type of mosaic, it's basically, it looks the same on the other side, but the opposite colors. So I don't know what technique you're going for, but yeah, the other technique you get, like here we have the pink and the gray, and you can definitely tell that on the other side here it's a lot of pink. That's why the gray is loose. So, but with the yeah, technical stuff, not my best thing, I guess. I'm learning as everyone else. But with it being all pink here, the other would be like solid gray. So you wouldn't see any of the pink showing through on this side, just as you don't see the gray showing through on this side. I do have another mosaic blanket, scrap blanket, that I started after this one, and it's not done. It's just laying around, and I'm not sure I'll ever touch it again. It's huge, that much I know. Yeah, and red crochet hooks, red pants, and red blankets on a couch, not the best match. Hard to find the crochet hook. Don't want to lose it again here. I'm gonna adjust a bit again. Me jumping around on the couch a little bit too much. I'm sorry for that. Let's get back into an as good as possible view for you, so you can at least see something interesting. Do you have a red crochet hook? I love these tulip hooks. It's quite a funny thing. I do have a coworker that, well, I haven't been working with her for quite some time, but it's an old coworker, and she picked up a crochet hook. I don't know. It's almost a year ago, I think, since she started crocheting. And we kind of found, well, she started posting on Instagram that she was starting to crochet. So I was like, oh, awesome. Then I have someone to talk a little bit about yarn and stuff with. And she's been very happy that she has someone to go to. I can explain patterns and stitches and everything, because I know more than she does in her, yeah. It's fun. It's fun to help someone out like that. But I did get a hook set for Christmas, not this Christmas, but the last Christmas, of these tulip hooks, the Edamos. And, well, basically I got to pick that Christmas present for myself, because I really wanted it, and it was on my wish list, so I got it. But I'm sold. Like, these are the best hooks I've ever had. And I did just feel like, because we did a Christmas present yarn swap thing, but I missed her birthday, and she's so I figured, like, I'll treat her a little extra with the Christmas present, because we set a budget, and then we were gift swapping. So I ordered one hook for her, but I knew, since she's also loving cakes like these, her go-to is 3.5mm. So I got her the 3.5mm crochet hook, and that's why when I ordered this 3.25, because it's the size I didn't have in anywhere. So I got the 3.25 for myself and a 3.5 for her. And now she's sold. She got an order, a custom order for a shawl that she finished and, sent in the mail and whatnot to someone, because she's been posting her stuff on Instagram. So it's really fun for her to sell some stuff. But now when she got the money for the shawl, she sent a picture to me that she had placed an order for 4 more of these crochet hooks in other sizes because I broke her. She fell in love with the hooks, and apparently now I broke her, so she can't use her old hooks, so she needed more sizes. So she got like a 4, 4.5, and a 5 millimeter. So I'm sorry if anyone has not tried the tulip hooks, and go try the tulip hooks just because I recommend them. That it might get expensive because they're not cheap. Just as some of the yarns might not be very cheap when you buy a lot of them. Hello, camper? Yeah, that's the blanket I'm working on. You're seeing the backside of it. It's going to be a blanket for my 3-year-old's birthday, which is next month. And I'm on this first cake where we have yellow and green left. It just started to get into the yellow and green. I started with pink. This is a pattern by Hooked on Sunshine called Whatcha-ma-callit. And I love the transition of the yarns in, this cotton cake. It's a hobby yarn called Dahlia, which is 100% cotton. And this is what the cake looks like. And I started from the outside and have worked my way towards the center. That's why I have this much left. And I have a total of 4 cakes. So these 2 here, I have 2 more. So when I get to the center with this yellow, I will pop into the center here and work my way out. So I get the gradients to continue in a nice flow. So outside in on the first one, inside out, next one, outside in and inside out is my plan for these. This is so perfect for a 3-year-old girl, don't you think? Pinks, purples, almost rainbow. Yeah. So that's the plan with this blanket. Hooked on Sunshine. I found the pattern on Ravelry, and I have done plenty of her patterns before. This is the Whatcha-ma-callit. I have done Doodad in 2 different baby blankets. I have a Marnie's Garden that's next to me, which is huge, and I have done a few lives when I was working on the Marnie, because it's really big. So if I get that one out, it's just gonna be it's a lot. I'm thinking it's about 120 plus centimeters from side to side, and it's also a square. Yeah, I love her pattern names. She also has a thingamabob, which cracks me up. I do have that pattern, but I don't know if that's I will try it. Like I'll try. I can't buy a pattern and not try it. But it wasn't a pattern I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do that one. And it's kind of interesting that the doodad, the thingamabob, and the whatchamacallit, they all have this repeat style. So you do a bit and then you repeat it again and again. But you can, if you just calculate a little bit, they all have a similar type of repeat, and they all have these V-stitches. So you can basically do a repeat of one style, and then when you get to the V-stitches, you can change between the patterns. So you can do one repeat from the thingamabob, and then the next repeat part could be from the doodad, and then the whatchamacallit. So it's very versatile. And I was like, I got the patterns because I wasn't sure if I was gonna want to do this again and again and again, because sometimes some stitches are just not really fun to do. But I'm really loving these small, the popcorns, and it's really like feminine. The shells, the popcorns. I'm really I'm really sold. So I'm not gonna mess anything up. I'm just gonna do the pattern again and again and again. But of course the other ones are really, really cute as well. And now I have the patterns. So I might do a mashup just to try it. I'm sorry, but my chat is acting up a bit, so I can only see very short of what everyone's writing, and then it just disappears. I don't know if there's anything I can do to like keep it up so I can read everything, but when you're talking about that is it that you have a hard time finding patterns, or was it that you have a hard time finding what? I'm sorry. Because the pattern is on I found all my patterns on Ravelry, but Hooked on Sunshine does have a Facebook group, so you can get a lot of, see what the other people have done with the patterns and the mashups. And yeah, Hooked on Sunshine has a really great community with her team of assisting fairies that also tests her patterns for her. So when you're like not sure what to do, if you don't like, if you put your work down and you don't remember what row you're on, you can always go and ask for help. Or if you can't find where you're, not really, not sure where you messed up and stuff, they're really good at that. I love that she's calling her assist teams fairies. Assist fairies. It's really cute. But there's a lot of people doing the Hooked on Sunshine's patterns, and she has a lot of blankets in different styles. I do have a Little Prince Charming. I did that one. That's the one I was talking about earlier in the Swedish colorway, the blue and yellow Discontinued Nations cake. That was a Little Prince Charming. And I've done the Doodad twice because that's a really fun pattern to do as well. I really enjoyed working on that one. They turn out to be really cute baby blankets, and with cotton cakes like these, 2 cakes is enough for a very nice size baby blanket. So that's why I'm using 4 now, because it feels like 4 should be a decent size for a toddler. Or maybe it's not okay to say toddler for a 3-year-old. I don't know. I'm not sure if a 3-year-old is considered a toddler, or if they have to be smaller. Really well written patterns, that's for sure, with pictures, and also like there's a print friendly version without the pictures. I usually have my patterns that I'm looking in my phone, but since I've been using my phone lately to do these live videos instead of just, filming whenever, I'm still I need to be able to check out the patterns. So I did get my hubby's tablet and put the patterns in there. So I do have the not print friendly version with the photos, which is really, really nice. I think I can give you a sneak peek of what that looks like. Very detailed with everything in. Yeah, it's well-written patterns. She has the colors of the round if you're using the colorways or color placements as stated earlier in the patterns. Stitch counts for every round, including what's in the corners. And then in the end, if you want to repeat the pattern, of course, there's going to be different stitch counts on the other rows. So there's also a chart for what stitch count you're supposed to have for whatever row if you continue just repeating. I love designers that take time and make well-written patterns. I've seen a couple that's been like, nope, thank you, not getting any patterns from you again. Videos can also be very helpful. Some designers do make videos. And I know that a lot of her patterns is available on video. But it costs to get access to it, and I'm not sure where those videos is available or how you get them. And I don't need them since it's really well written anyway. So I didn't look up that part. And I don't know, like, since I bought the pattern, if I would be be able to get the videos if I can prove I already purchased the pattern. Don't know. Oh, and fun question. Are you a knife holder or a pencil grip holder? How do you hold your crochet hook? That's always a fun thing to ask. I want to try the clover hooks. I have not tried them, so I don't know how they are. But the tulips and the clover, as far as I can tell, are both made in Japan. So I think the quality should be very good on the clovers as well. And I do understand that they are not the cheapest either. And I don't know, there's something about the coatings on these hooks that just make them glide like a hot knife into butter. I love it. I'm not a fan of wooden hooks, and I'm not a fan of too chunky hooks. I think that like the furl hooks, they are like quite large, but they look like they would be a lot more comfortable if you're a knife holder compared to with pencil grip. Because I can't look at a furl's hook and see that it would be nice to hold as a pencil. It's a bit too much. They look really cool though. I love that there's a lot of people out there that makes their own hooks and sell them, like the resin hooks and um, wood turned hooks. It's, yeah, they're really, really cool hooks out there. Would you prefer, like, do you prefer the wooden furls or the metal furls? Because I've tried a lot of wooden hooks, some bamboo and some other ones, and they were not the best quality. I did have one that like it was almost like splinters in it, and it was catching on to the yarn, which was really annoying. So that one went out the window, more or less. No, I still have them um, in my collection, which is not very big. but it's kind of scary with the wood hooks like that if you spend a lot of money, which furls are a lot of money, and to ship it to Sweden, I wouldn't even want to try that. Delicate work as in like lace type weight, or like I'm doing the thinner yarns, or do you have other type of delicate work that you're doing? I'm worried about the resin hooks that they might snap. Metal is something that feels more secure and sturdy. Of course, the wooden hooks is also like in the risk zone to be snapped. Ah, yeah. Squeaks. Yeah, okay, so thicker resin hooks. Usually when it squeaks for me, it does happen. I run my hook through my hair because hair grease is a miracle for that. And also, especially if it's really hot, I do get slightly like damp hands. So cold hand wash is the best thing. I occasionally just go more or less dunk your hands into ice water and soap to get anything off, to get your hands dry. That's that solves my issue. So occasionally I have to wash my hands more than a few times a day. Not very often, but usually like really when it's really warm, that's when I get the squeaks. And acrylic yarn is a little bit more squeaky prone than cottons. So, but that's my go-to tricks. Oh, no, I'm sorry for shaking you. I just want to put my water back like so. Yeah, the camera holder is very flimsy, so when I do bump it, it stays moving for a little bit before it calms down. So I'm sorry. Ooh, a lost soul shawl. I have done one in shadow, gray to black. That one's really nice. I need to block that shawl. I have, like, I made a lot of shawls and stuff before I started to, like, try the whole blocking thing out. And I do have the blocking boards. I've had them, well, it's not technically blocking boards, it's the puzzle mats for my kid. I've had those for quite some time, but I didn't have any needles or anything to get it up on the board. But now I have a lot of the needles, so now I can block, but I have a huge pile of things that needs to go on the blocking board. Yeah, fiber spider is the pattern I've been using. There's another kind of, I wouldn't say a fiber, like the, what's it, the Lost Soul. It's a skull type of shawl, but it's not the Lost Souls one. It's one that looks more like squares with a skull in it. Like the squares actually get more squared. The Lost Souls feels like it's kind of bubbles, if you know what I mean. The or like the waves that goes, does it make sense? I hope I make sense. But the other one I have not tried, the one that's more like squares. But I have done the one with the bubbly wave frame. Yeah, frame. We'll go with that. Oh, But I do love some skulls, and I do have an 11-year-old that is pretty obsessed with Halloween. So I did the a Lost Souls granny square type-esque blanket. Also one of Fiber Spider's patterns with basically the skull. Like when you do, he has another pattern where you do from, is it from bottom up or is it from top down? You make a square and the square is worked from the center out. So you get like, here's the center, and then you get like on each of the sides you get a skull. And yeah, they're facing, so yeah, you start from the chin and then you work your way up to the forehead. So it's just like the Lost Soul, but it's worked in a square. And I made plenty of those squares with 4 skulls on each. I can, yeah. If we imagine this is a square, but the square is more on the diagonal, and then we have a skull there and a skull there, you know, different like this one, but it's a square. Ah, why am I making things difficult for myself? But I've done other types of skulls, not just the Lost Soul shawl. There is a doily pattern with skulls and skeletons that I would love to make. And I don't remember the pattern on the top of my head, but I do know that there's a girl on Instagram. I think her Instagram is underneath your skein, as in yarn skein, not skin. But she has made that pattern with the skulls and the skeletons, and like I think she's using some of these type of cakes and some other hobby yarns. I think she made one in the universe cakes, but she mounts them on umbrellas. So there's a skeleton umbrella. It looks so cool. I have no idea how to do that. Like, of course, the umbrella, you can probably get an old umbrella at the thrift store and rip all the fabric out. But I don't know how you would like mount the doily over it securely enough for it to stay there, since there's like a lot of holes and such on an umbrella fabric normally. I don't know how you attach it really, but I imagine it's easier with a solid fabric than a holy doily. So yeah, they're really cool looking. And I would love to make that skeleton doily for just Halloween decor. Oh, you know what I'm talking about. Awesome. Yeah, she's done a lot of different umbrellas, not only the skeleton patterns. I think she did the pineapple type doily as well. And I don't know also like how big you have to make, like you want to make sure that you do all the rounds of the pattern to make the pattern look as good as possible. But then like to fit it on the umbrella and it being the right size and like stretched enough or not stretched enough, and that's scary. It takes some trial and error maybe to make it work, and some dedication. Then again, if you do the doily and you're like, I love it either way, and it works perfectly fine on the dining room table during Halloween and spooky season, then yeah, it's nothing really to lose. You might have to make two if you try it on the umbrella and it looks really good, and you still might want something on the dining room table. Yeah, you might have to make two. I guess that's the only downside of trying stuff out. There's so many pretty patterns out there, so many ideas, and not enough time. There's not enough hours on a day. Do you have a lot of ideas as well of what you want to do? Or is it just me? Or do you have like planned out that you have this cake or this skein or this pattern is going to be the next thing, and then you want to do that and this, and your cousin's having a baby, so you need to make a baby blanket, and grandma's been complaining about that she's cold, so she might need a new blanket, and the kid just lost his hat at school, so you need to make a new hat for, no cold ears. And well, I can't say that I'm there with you, um because I don't have a diagnosis on paper, but I do have a son with a diagnosis on paper, and I feel that I have a lot of similarities. So I might be on the same level as you. Just don't have it on paper. But I have so many things like going. I have whips in places I have forgot about them. Sometimes I go into a room and it's like, oh, what is this? Something I left a few months ago and forgot that I left it here. It's not finished. Maybe I should finish it. Yeah, I know it runs in the family, but the thing is that I know that my son got it from his dad's side because his dad has it on paper. Um, so I'm just seeing that there's a lot of similarities, and I've been in contact with the doctor, and they're more guessing, since I haven't been like fully tested and whatnot, that it's probably ADD, because I'm not so hyper. At least not like moving about and whatnot, but everything's going at the speed of light in my head. And I do ramble and I do lose track of things. I can talk about something and then I don't remember what I was talking about because I sidetracked and totally derailed, and the crash was inevitable, and I don't remember what I was gonna say in the first place. Yes. And I do know not everyone appreciates the fact that I can't keep my thoughts together, and conversations sometimes get a bit weird. But I am a master at rambling when I am given the opportunity. You appreciate the car crashes or train crashes? Yeah, there's been so many like discussions on what might be wrong with me during the years. I'm basically home on sick leave, which sounds probably really weird. But I've been home since 2017, when I had to jump out of my car on the way to work because it caught fire on the road for no reason at all. We don't know what happened to the car. It just got totaled, and the insurance company didn't want to investigate why the car started burning because it would take too much effort and cost and whatnot for them to figure it out. So they basically just like, yeah, we'll give you some money so you can buy a new car, and that's it. So I don't know why the car caught on fire. I had to stop mid traffic. I was luckily um, on streets with not very high speed, but I was coming closer to a red light stop, and I was, well, fairly slow, so I could stop. And it's really funny, like when you think about things after, like what I did in the situation, because I did manage to stop the car. I got the car out of gear because it was a manual, and I pulled the handbrake, but I didn't dare to turn the key off, so I just kept it running. And I grabbed my bag and I just jumped out of the car and ran as I got my phone out, called the fire department, and yeah. But I was cold enough to like pull the handbrake and get the gear out. It's just like, why did I do this? Instinctively, I did it, but it's like, why did I do this? A lot of people would just totally panic. But yeah, after that, I can tell that my mental health totally deteriorated, and I've been since diagnosed with PTSD and anxiety and depression and stuff of I didn't have it on paper before, but after years of therapists, psychologists, and whatnot, I have come to realize that I was depressed and had issues with anxiety way before this happened. I just wasn't aware of it. I just coped. And yeah, it was just so then they're like, "Oh, well, it looks like you might have some other things going on." It just flew under the radar all of these years because you've been working with different coping mechanisms and whatnot from when I was a kid. So I was never tested and all of that stuff. I think a lot of crocheters actually do have diagnosis because there's a lot of things going into crocheting. I don't know why. It just feels like it's therapeutic, it's calming, shit's happening, your hands are occupied, and I don't know, it just feels like a perfect thing to do when you do have issues. Oh, and yeah, me sidetracking again. I think I was talking a little bit about my son and his issues because he's got autism and ADHD. And I do have a brother that has an autism diagnosis. Half brother though, and we know that most of his issues is probably inherited from his father's side, and we don't share the same father. So I guess that's also one of the reasons they're like, oh, you probably don't have any issues because all the issues my brother have that it's from his dad's side, so I can't have any issues. Well, I think there's issues on my dad's side too because I have an aunt that has an ADHD diagnosis. So, yeah, and I'm pretty sure my uncle has it too, and I have a cousin that's probably yeah, it's just all over the place. So it would be very weird if I didn't have anything. But I've been all my other issues has been, you know, the depression and anxiety and all of that stuff. It's just I guess I'm good at hiding it and I don't often talk about the stuff. But yeah, that also. And apparently it's very common for middle-aged women to get their diagnosis. Like in their 40s ish, they basically work their way into the famous wall of just crashing. And I don't know, what's the word for it? We have a Swedish word for it, but when you basically you work to the point where there's no energy left and it's just too much everything. We say hit the wall, kinda, here, but it's fairly common that if you have undiagnosed issues, that's will show through when you end up in that type of situation. That you finally get a diagnosis and shit makes sense. There's been talk about like getting me tested to figure out what's going on, but since I have so much thing going on with me being depressed, panic attacks, just PTSD issues going crazy, they wanted me to like go through a lot of therapy sessions. Yeah, burnout. Thank you for the word. But I've since I have all of that stuff going on, the doctors wanted me to like go to therapy, figure shit out, and then whatever's left when you're feeling better is easier to like figure out what kind of diagnosis is left. I don't know if that's really the case. That's actually how it works. But I do understand that a lot of the diagnoses are like have overlapping symptoms, and one symptom doesn't necessarily automatically mean one type of diagnosis. So, of course, you can be depressed and have anxiety and show symptoms of ADHD type of things. Makes sense, but it's just. I've been home since 2017 and I'm still waiting for um, to be like totally tested and whatnot. But yeah, rounds of shrinks, therapists, and whatnot in between. I'm not gonna complain though. I do have extra time to crochet. That's, I guess, the only good thing with it. And this is my therapy. This is the therapy that works. Oh, and the meds. Don't get me started. Like I was on different shit. It ended me up in the ER twice. Once I thought I was having a heart attack. Wasn't. It was all in my head. It was painful as shit. I couldn't walk. I got driven to the emergency room like 4 o'clock in the morning. Not fun at all. And another time I did get a total blackout and it was scary as fuck. I had at the time I was trying to start to get back to work again. I was working like a couple of hours a day, not full hour, like not full days, I think maybe 50% or something. And it took me about an hour to drive to work. And then I worked, and then I had an hour back home. And the whole day is a total black hole. Like it's totally gone. I probably was a danger in traffic. I couldn't tell because I don't remember. But after that, I put myself in the ER and I was like, something's clearly wrong here. I don't remember anything from yesterday. How I drove to work, how I worked the whole day, and how I drove myself home. And they're like, we should probably take you off that meds. Yes, please. Give me something else. Oh, and another one, weight gain from hell. Like, a lot. So, of course, that one disappeared pretty fast because it's never good when that happens either. It's killing your confidence and whatnot. If like I've never been a really skinny girl. I've been totally going up and down, up and down, up and down my whole life, but never really, really skinny. But when you like more or less overnight almost double in size, yeah, you just want to crawl under the blanket and cry. So, never fun at all. And then I did have my daughter, and I didn't have any meds at that point because I was like, no, I'm done with all the meds. I don't even know what my baseline is without meds. So, stop the meds, and then, oh, oops, a baby. Well, yeah, you can't put me back on the meds until all of that's done. Yeah, I haven't taken any meds for quite some time. I do have, like, in case of emergency, um, some stuff that I can take, but I don't um, use it very often. It's like like panic attack mode. That's then I can get them out, but otherwise I try to avoid it because it doesn't help that much. I'm happy it takes the edge off the worst, but that's about it. And I don't need it every day, so why should I take it every day? I have crocheting. That's what I need. when it gets when shit hits the fan, then you just need relax time. Hmm. There are so many weird side effects from meds. Crocheting as therapy, like that's probably the best thing ever. Downside is yarn is expensive and crocheting is not very appreciated, so it doesn't really pay that much. And also, totally suck at marketing my stuff. So I don't really sell anything. I make stuff for friends and family and I gift it, which means I probably could buy a lot more yarn if I got paid for the stuff I made. Well. I had some great big plan, which is probably not going to happen, but I, I have a dream that I'd be getting a decent amount of followers that YouTube would start paying me a little bit, and then I could buy more yarn for that, like, the ad revenue and stuff. But to get there, I need to have at least 1,000 followers or subscribers, and I think I have like, did I have 421 last time I checked? So I'm not even halfway there yet. But it would be nice to have, a little bit of something coming out of my crochet work so that it would at least fund itself, which most likely is not going to happen because I buy a lot more yarn than I should anyway. But then again, there's plenty of yarn haul videos for you to enjoy. So you can at least thank me for that, right? Yeah, I have, as it is right now, I have a hard time driving cars. I don't get out of the house on a daily basis. I usually get out of the house on a weekly basis, but that's, yeah, not all the time. I do have 2 days a week where I actually have people come in here to motivate me to do stuff with cleaning and um, you know, daily life stuff. So I'm not feeling all fine. Oh, but I'm a lot more functioning now than I was a few years ago. Yeah, I'm more of the fact that like the car caught on fire. There's issue with like me being in cars. I don't trust whoever to drive, and um like when I'm in a car and there's smells coming from outdoors, like it could be that there's a really old car in front of me and the fumes from it, it's just like it smells weird and it doesn't smell like most new cars. I get on like really high alert. And also if there's someone, barbecuing or, well, I live in Sweden, it's cold. There's neighbors that has fireplaces and, the smoke from the chimneys. Like if it smells like something's on fire, I I have to go and check out what is it that's burning. Is it something that's reasonable? Like, is it just a neighbor burning leaves? Is it a fireplace? Is it like, as long as I like figure out what it is, then I'm okay with it. But it's just everything like burning. I can't have like lit candles at home. No way. Uh, and there's a lot of people that I've been visiting that has it's so annoying and it just frustrates me. But to leave a candle, a scented candle in the bathroom, because when they have guests over, it's, a bit embarrassing to do what you need in the bathroom. So scented candles will deal with that. But to leave it in there unattended, it just freaks me out to have like candles in rooms where you're not even in, because a fire is fast as oh. But usually like when I figure out what it is that smells, I do calm down quite quickly. Now, not before, but I've managed to, like, I have to be a detective first and like what is it, where is the smell coming from, and then it's like okay, now I can continue what I was doing. I'm not as freaked out about the oven, and I do have a slow cooker, and I can leave the slow cooker overnight, and I can also leave the slow cooker and like leave the house. So certain things I can deal with, but usually if the oven is on and I leave, it's like low temperature stuff going, or like I can maybe go out and throw the garbage. But yeah, I wouldn't like go to the store and be away for 3 hours. Yeah, we don't have that big issues with forest fires, but we did have one a few years ago that was really crazy. They fought it for months here, which is very unusual. So it does happen. And I'm guessing it's gonna happen more often because it has like the temperature has gone up a little bit here. The winters are milder and shorter and so but yeah. I don't remember how long I've been or what time it was when I started this round, but I have this full side left. Okay, I know I've been talking a lot, but it feels like this row was taking forever. Yes, of course, it's a yarn eating cluster stitch, and they take some time. Sometimes it just feels like they take forever. Oh, and the huge blanket I'm um, have next to me that I haven't showed because it's just too big to throw around right now. It also has cluster stitches. It doesn't only have these 3 double crochets together clusters. They also have 4 double crochet together clusters. But it's mostly 3 double crochets together clusters, and there's a lot of them. Yeah, that too. And this is only the first cake. I have 3 more. It's gonna be really nice size. But now when you have all the color, it's just so gorgeous. Well, it's gonna be more yellow. It's still green in this. It looks like, yeah, with the tiny hints of yellow, it really looks very popping lime neon type of green here, which I love. One of my favorite color combinations is green and purple, and that ranges from every type of purple and almost every type of green. Forest green is not very nice together with purple, I wouldn't say, but minty greens and lime greens and purples and lavenders is just gorgeous. It's so gorgeous. It's always been some of, like, the combination has been really a thing for me, especially a darker purple, almost eggplant type. Maybe not that dark, but like you get like a dark purple and neon green. It pops so gorgeous together. And just a regular dark purple with mint green. Gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. I do have a hexagon cardigan in Hobby Megaball Aaron that I made. I had planned to release the pattern and whatnot. I have material filmed for a full tutorial, and I just, mental health issues is just saying can't handle it right now. Or right now, I did the cardigan like last winter. So, yeah, fun times. So I have not posted the cardigan or like any pictures on social media or whatnot because I was like, I'm gonna make this grand pattern release and all of it. But it's eggplant and mint, soft mint and eggplant of the mega balls. It's gorgeous. But yeah, I'll 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 have to show you soon. But I'm sorry to disappoint that it might not be the big pattern release and whatnot that I had envisioned, because then we might never see it at all. Whoop whoop, I've been sitting here for 2 hours now. And before that, I had live stream on Instagram for, I don't know, almost an hour. What time is it? I don't even know. It's probably getting late. midnight. Yes. But then again, I crochet most of the time, so... Oh. I love colors. I'm not the biggest fan of, like, grays and blacks and whatnot. But when it comes to, like, putting clothes on myself, okay, I have colorful leggings on with snowflakes and hearts and whatnot. They were very inexpensive and they're very comfortable, and that's what I can, like, hide in when I'm at home. But mostly when I go out, I dress in very boring blacks and muted colors, and all the colorful stuff that I sit at home here crocheting not very often gets to go out the door. I have been using a shawl that I made last year, and I've been using it quite a lot. It's fall colors, so that's been like the only pop of color I've been using, with a lot of like autumnal orange, gold, a little bit of green and such. And it's not even like colors I would go for normally. It's a universe cake, so it's got sparkle. So I guess that's one of the good things about it. But I don't know why, a color that I'm not comfortable in is the only color that gets to leave the house with me. It's so weird. I don't know why. And I don't even think that the colors really suit my complexion and all of that either. So I don't know. It's weird. Would you say that this is a good time to have these live streams, or would you prefer earlier or later, or since like for me it's quite late right now, and I did try the other day to do like a morning stream, and I figured maybe I'd be able to get some of the like night owls, um or yeah, it'd probably be quite late in the US. I think the time difference for some is 6 hours, and is it between 6 and 9 hours difference from where I'm at and the East and the West Coast? I don't remember exactly, but I think it's 6 hours difference to, was it the East Coast, and 9 hour difference to the West Coast? So 9 hours difference, people in California would be able to, come and keep me company when I get up early. Because I got, like, I think it was around 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning, my time. And that would be after midnight on the East Coast, but before midnight on the West Coast. And maybe that's too late. I don't know. I guess it depends on where you're at. And yeah, I do understand that, like, dinner time is probably not the best time to hang out. Yeah, I have like a lot of time during the days, but then most of you guys are sleeping. When do I get a community tab? What's the threshold for that? Because I know that, like, I can make money from 1,000 subscribers and a certain amount of watch hours. Oh, yeah, then I'm close. So basically 2, 3 a.m. my type of schedule, but in the wrong time zone. I should be going to bed earlier because I have to get up at like 6:30-ish to help get the kids get dressed and breakfast and all of that ready for school. And then when they're out of the house, I usually sit down and crochet. And if I have energy and whatnot, I will do some cleaning, occasionally a load of laundry, and figure out what's for dinner. And that usually takes all day while I'm crocheting to figure out what's for dinner. And when dinner time comes, I still haven't figured out what's for dinner. So, yeah. But usually there's a few hours of sleep. I don't often sleep during the day. Oops. I should do like so. But yeah, it's probably not good in the long run to go to sleep at like 2, 3 and get up at 6. It's quite a bit of like lack of sleep, yes. But I have been going all crazy for coffee a lot lately, and it's been so terrible. I've been sitting here at this time of the evening, night, late, and just thinking about coffee makes my mouth water. And I was like, I want the taste of coffee. Yeah, give me coffee. And it's like, no, if I have coffee now, I can't sleep. But I can't sleep anyway. But if I have coffee, then I'll be up till tomorrow. Yeah. So, you guys, please drink some coffee. Too late for me to drink coffee. So, yeah, please have a cup for me. It's weird though, like in the weekends when I don't need to get up and help out to get the kids ready for school, and I'm still like going to bed at this hour, then I can sleep till like 11. If they'd let me. The kids want to wake me up occasionally before then, but it's really nice that we take turns on taking the kids on the weekends. I get to sleep in one of the days, and hubby gets to sleep in the other day, which is really nice. I can usually sleep like when I don't have to get up. I'm quite a heavy sleeper. I've been told so many times that I could probably sleep through a nuclear war, which I don't think is possible. I don't want to try it, but I do understand why some people do say that because there's been multiple attempts to wake me up at times where it wasn't possible. It was like I was dead. I was totally knocked out, and I didn't want to wake up. I don't always wake up when the kids are screaming. I do wake up when the kids jump on me most of the time. And yeah, I like alarm clocks. Don't get me started. I could sleep through alarm clocks to the point where I used to have like 6, 7 alarm clocks um, in different intervals to try and wake up at some point. The youngest one will be 3 in about a month, and the other one is 11 and will be 12 in April. And they are my monsters. It started way back when the oldest one, my son, when he was, um, well, about around the time that he was born, Lady Gaga was becoming a really big thing, and she called her fans her monsters. And if she can call her fans monsters, I can definitely call my kids monsters, because they deserve the name more than her fans. I thought it was cute though. And I do have a tattoo on my arm that represent my son, and it's the cartoon, the Tasmanian Devil, Taz, but as a kid with like broken toys around him, because he was a total little monster, starting in the belly. Well, yeah, you could, like, I'm 35, I'll be 36 next month, so you could definitely be my kid's grandma and my mom, because I'm almost the age of your kids. Occasionally, these 4 strands do split. Yes, they do. Especially when I'm not paying attention. 2 14-year-olds? Are they twins, or is it by 2 different uh, of your kids? I love making baby blankets, and I will soon, hopefully, have yet another baby blanket to make, because a bird whispered in my ear recently that a family friend might be expecting, but they didn't really know yet. I'd get all crazy. Like, I remember when I was pregnant, I couldn't wait to, like, I felt symptoms, had to take a test, you know? And now we have a family friend that was talking about his wife, and she was feeling sick, and her smells was starting to get all funky, and symptom after symptom after symptom. And I was like, yeah, did you ask if she's got sore boobs? Because it just sounds to me like she's pregnant. Why haven't she tested? Really? How long has she been feeling sick? For like 2.5 weeks? I could never go 2.5 weeks without getting tested if I think I might be pregnant. That's just, dude, that's just crazy. Not for that long. In a way, I wish I'd have more kids, but I know it's not, well, it's possible for me to have children, but it would be very dangerous because of complications during my previous pregnancies. So for me to get pregnant would be highly stupid, because I might risk my, like, I would be risking my own life, and that would be stupid. So that's something I've been fighting with too. It's a loss that I can't have more, you know what I mean? Even though like I technically I could have more. It would have been easier if they would just like done a hysterectomy or something, because then it would be like really, really final. And now I've been like going up and down through shit and being like, what if? What if? Should we try? No, because it would be stupid. And I have two kids that need me. It would be very stupid. Risky business. But then again, what are you talking about? You're talking about your grandson. Trying to keep up with you guys. I'm rambling and you are being all chatty. I love it though. I'm really happy about all the company. Feeling like stepping out of my comfort zone and sharing shit on YouTube, well, my crocheting, is paying off. Yes. Planning on having a certain amount of kids and having them is totally different. I have a stepsister. She was all like totally sure when she was younger that she was gonna have 5 kids. She has 4, and she's kind of regretting having that many. No, she's not regretting her kids, but she says that 3 would have been okay. 5 is never gonna happen. It's easier for boys though. It's definitely not unheard of to have boys with kids with multiple women. So if he wants 4 kids, he could technically have that in 1 year. What is that? Is he a comedian or an actor? Nick Cannon. Doesn't he have like 12 kids or something now? And he had like what? 6 kids with 6 different women in the last, I don't know, 6 months? Yeah, I think he's a comedian. Nick Cannon. I know he has twins with Mariah Carey since like way back when. And now he's been like getting all these supermodels pregnant. Well, I don't know if they're all supermodels, but they definitely have model potential faces and bodies. Men has it a bit easier in that way that they can just do something quick and then go to the next one. So, some people don't think that's a good thing. I think a lot of people don't think that's a good thing, but it's still a possibility. Yay, I'm done with this row. Oh, almost. Need to finish this last cluster and I wonder if Nick Cannon is one of the, like, because I know he's making a lot of money being comedian, actor, whatever. But all the child support, oh my God. I wonder how much he has to pay for all his kids. Because when you make a lot of money, you also have to pay a lot of money, right? I know that's also very different depending on where you're at. Now I am switching over to making crossed double crochets. They're really cute. I really like the little look that they kind of frame the cluster really cute. Here's what they look like in purple and blue. Opens up the gaps in between a little extra, so you get more. You see the details a lot better. Yeah, it's a lot of pretty stuff going on here. And the shells and these tiny, tiny popcorns. These are half double crochet popcorns with 4 half double crochets. And I'm used to the 5 double crochets. Those popcorns are quite a lot bigger. And I've seen a lot of people doing a color, well, I wouldn't say a colorway, but when they're not doing all these like gradient cakes, because there's a lot of people doing that too, that the row underneath will be like in a green color, and then you can have like a, oh, good night. Thank you very much for keeping us company. It's been really fun. Um, but yeah, like a cream or like a light color, and then do a round of green, because these V stitches look like a stem, and then making these popcorn stitches in like a pink or something else, so it looks like rosebuds. Really cute. I love how people can be very like creative in colorways and color placement, and I'm just like, no, I'm taking the easy way out. I'm using cakes that changed color by themselves so I don't have to think. One of the worst things I know when it comes to crocheting or whatever. Sewing in all the yarn ends. That's my nemesis. So I've done baby blankets with 2 of these cakes. Um, in every color change, I've cut the yarn to switch between the cakes, so I get one big gradient instead of like I'm doing now. I'm doing one cake after the other. And the blankets turn out really gorgeous. It takes extra time, and it's just like, ugh. Yeah, I was thinking about like if I should double strand with some of the yarn that I didn't really, I don't know what to do with from my mystery bags. Like I do have the 3 Sultan Pastello peachy type, and then I do have the 4 of the Sweden. So I could probably do double it up and do it like I'm doing now with I will have 4 cakes after each other, but if I double up on 2 and then I take 2 and then the other 2, it would probably be decent size. But I don't know. I'm not sure what crochet hook size I would use for double strand, and I'm not the biggest fan of very big crochet hooks. I think in the recent time, the highest or the biggest I've gone is a 4 millimeter. And that's what I've been using for the big blanket that's next to me. That's the 4 millimeter hook. Yeah, well, I'm noticing that the blanket I'm making, the other one, DK weight, and I'm using 4 millimeter crochet hook, and it's recycled polyester, and it's very similar to how this pattern is made with pretty dense type. It's clusters, it's not a lot of holes. Of course there's holes, but it's a pretty dense type of fabric, so it's really heavy. And I have a total of 44 skeins of yarn, 100 grams each, so that's total of almost 4.5 kilo if I use all of them. But it's really starting to get heavy, and I've noticed that when it's like this late and I've been sitting crocheting, I've fallen asleep underneath the weight of the blanket while working on it. So it's definitely doing its job already. That's for sure. But I don't know if like what would be most important in a weighted blanket for you, because I'm feeling like it needs to be big enough as well as have some weight to it. And if you're doing like double strands and whatnot, I'm thinking, is it going to be too heavy if you want it big enough for you to like snuggle underneath and not having your feet stick out? Oh, I can show you. This is the yarn I'm using for that blanket. It's the only one I'm focusing on. But this is recycled polyester, and it's got a lot of weight to it. It recommends a 4 millimeter crochet hook, and yeah, it feels pretty soft and light as it is right like this, but the amount of yarn that I'm using for it, and with a lot of yarn eating stitches, it will get a good effect. If you're going for like granny square type with a lot of big holes, then yes, double up, thicker strands. Maybe even just go down crochet hook size and you get it at more of a dense type of fabric. But yeah, well, I would try to make it. I definitely see these types of yarn not necessarily held together, but yarn eating stitches, because that's pretty as well. And maybe go down a hook size or two from what you'd normally use to get more dense, but without having it too stiff. I'd, I'd say that could also be the way to go, because then you'd get a nice size without having to, you know, use extreme amounts of yarn. But I don't know, if you double up, let's say, I wonder how big it would be if you double up 6 cakes, because that would be, yeah, maybe 6 or even 8. Yeah, I mostly prefer cottons, but I'm not afraid of acrylics, and I can't tolerate wool very well. It's allergy med times when I get the wool out. So I do a lot of acrylic, and I'm not like going all crazy for the environment aspect of it, because there's so many things in life that's as bad as it is. And I found recycled polyester, that if something is good, I'd say, because it used to be something else before, like a bottle or something. Yeah, I totally understand that. Something else that's really good with the cotton type yarns, it's that it's easier to wash, in my opinion. I'm always worried with acrylics that they might not be like okay with temperatures in the dryer or whatnot. And I think, like with cotton yarns, more or less every type of cotton yarn there is, if it's 100% cotton, can definitely be more or less almost boiled. The only thing that makes a cotton yarn being like, oh, use lower temperatures or hand wash or whatnot, is because the colors or the way that the yarn is dyed, that the color might bleed or just totally fade. So, because cotton itself is very durable, but I do understand that like colors is not as durable as the yarn itself. But yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of washing big blankets, because it feels like the bigger the blanket, the harder it is for the washing machine to deal with it. And it's not like, I don't know exactly how it is everywhere, but I get the feeling from watching a lot of movies and whatnot that laundromats is very common in the US and in other countries as well. And we don't have that here. Like, if you live in an apartment complex, there's always a laundry room. If you live in your own house, you have your own stuff to deal with. We have um, washing machines like everyone. If you're renting, if some landlords, depending on like how the houses are built and whatnot, but like if you don't have community washing room for that like apartment complex that the landlord provides, it's usually that you have your own machine in the apartment. So, oh, I have to run. I have a 3-year-old on top of my stairs that's crying after me. So, I'm very, very happy that you guys were here and spent some time with me. But now I have to run, and I hope to see you back here again very soon. So, thank you very much, and bye bye.